Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, aunts and uncles, nans and grands, dads and uncles. I've said uncles, I don't know. Whatever you are, whoever you are, good morning. Welcome to the live stream. So, ladies and gentlemen, it starts today. It begins today. Today, where I live, certainly. Today is the last day. It's the last school day, basically. Kids have now broken up for the 6 weeks holidays. So, are you ready for what's to come? We've already seen prematurely, I would say, well, not prematurely, that's probably the wrong word to use. I didn't think the summer of carnage would actually start until we was 1-2 weeks into the 6 weeks holidays. But what you've got to look at now, guys, I'm going to give you guys a rundown of the country, what's happening now holistically. People, and I mean people on the right, people on the left, are getting angry. They're getting angry with each other. That is the reality right now, guys. You'll get a certain amount of people who are angry with X, and you'll get a certain amount of people who are angry with Y. The police are stuck in the middle. And listen, guys, and I want to say something about the police real quick. A lot of those police officers may be sympathetic with causes. Now, whatever causes they are, you know, they are. Now, the police have to try and be, as best as they can be, impartial. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying this now, it's on public record. I do believe we're coming up to the point very soon where we're going to see police officers. Now, I said we'd see police officers run off. And I think that's true. I do think that's true. What I also think we're going to see is, and this is my intuition, guys. I've got literally, this is just my intuition from watching the protests yesterday, watching the body language of the police officers, guys. And look, this is literally just me saying this. Nobody else has been talking about this. I think we are this close, guys. We are this close to seeing police officers at these protests put their shields down, take their helmets off, and go, do you know what, guys? I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. And walk off. I do think that is coming, ladies and gentlemen. Do you know why? Do you know why I think it? First of all, the main reason I'm saying this is because I was looking at the body language of those police officers. Obviously, not all of those police officers. I was looking at the body language of a lot of those police officers, and they're thinking, why am I here? What am I actually doing? They're starting to question themselves. Whether that's right or wrong, that's totally up to you guys to decide. I'm telling you what's coming. So I do think that's happening, guys, okay? And also, you know, police officers have got kids. They have. You know, police officers have kids. And I know that when these police officers are standing there, they're standing there with their shield and they're thinking, right, I'm stopping. These guys are protesting because they want to protect my kids. At some point, guys, there's going to be a moral dilemma there, and I do think police officers are going to start to throw their shields down. I might be wrong, but that's what I'm seeing, guys. That's what I'm seeing from the body language of the police that I saw last night in Epping. So I do think the policing went well, guys. I do think the policing went well. Oh, but Sean, somebody got run over by the police. Yeah, all right. Look, guys, I say this all the time. How many times do I say this? Okay, if you want to play big boy games, you get big boy prizes. And this is nothing against anyone, right? But that police officer that was driving that vehicle, right? Somebody jumped in front of him, all right? So, like, you know, what does he expect, guys? Listen, I'll just put this out there to you guys, as a word of warning, right? If you're going... I didn't think I needed to say this to you guys, all right? If you're going out protesting, don't throw yourself in front of moving vehicles, all right, guys? I didn't think I needed to say this to anyone, all right? And this goes to anyone, literally anyone, all right? And you know what, guys? I'm not just going to say if you're protesting. In all walks of life, ladies and gentlemen, try to make best use of not throwing yourself in front of vehicles. It kind of doesn't end well for you. Listen, guys, we're made of flesh and bone. Those vehicles are made of, like, steel. Steel is strong. Hang on, guys. Right, guys, I guess we're on now. I'm not sure if I got through my monologue on everything I wanted to cover. So, listen, guys, if you're on, whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're watching on X, whether you're watching on TikTok, please show your appreciation for the purge. Please show your appreciation for the page, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching on TikTok, the buttons are up here somewhere. I don't know. If you're watching on YouTube, the buttons are down there. And if you're watching on X, I have no idea where those buttons are. So please like, comment, subscribe, guys. All the things that help these channels grow. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, I think the biggest thing that you guys can... First of all, somebody get me an English dictionary. The best thing that you guys can do, I think, is the first thing I think you guys, the best thing you guys can do, I think, is just share my stuff. Oh, Linda Lou here is saying, I don't agree with you, Sean. He didn't throw himself in front of the van. Oh, right. Well, listen, Linda Lou, you may have seen a different angle to me. The angle I saw, the van was this police van. Again, there may be another incident. I don't know. But from the footage I saw, the police van was moving. I think there was 4 police vans moving in a packet. I think the first van went, the second van went, and it may have been the third. I may have actually been the second, but certainly vans had gone before him. And then this guy came in front of the police van, and like in that scenario, what's the police officer supposed to do? But look, Linda Lou, you may have seen it from a different angle than me. I don't know, but yeah, from what I saw, he certainly moved in front of that vehicle. Hang on, guys, my thing's froze. Right, Four Paws is saying, morning, Sean. Morning, everyone. Good morning, Four Paws. Linda Lou is saying the coppers were not impartial. They knocked. Oh, right, okay, right, guys. Listen, guys, I may be wrong here. So Linda Lou is saying there was 2 protesters knocked down. Right, guys, listen, I only saw one incident, guys. So I may be totally out. Listen, guys, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But the one incident I saw was again, look, Linda Lou here saying there were 2 incidents. Look, guys, it's very difficult to get an angle on this thing, especially when you're watching lots of different open source social media accounts. But what I saw was the van moving forwards and a guy come in front of it. Now, if you're driving that van, like, what are you supposed to do? But Linda Lou here is saying that there were two protesters knocked down, one badly. So I've obviously not seen the badly one. I'm just getting the comments, guys. Who is that? Jody Lee is saying, morning, everyone. Silence is saying, hi, Sean. Hi, right back to you. Linda Lou again is saying, I watched that last night. It was crazy. Grandkids still at school till next week. Oh, right. Okay. Well, so where we live, the kids have broken up now, guys. Okay. So where we live, kids have broken up. And look, guys, I've been speaking to some 15-year-old boys, all right? Let's just, okay, right, before anybody gets any insinuations there, right, guys, okay? I've been speaking to some members of the family who happen to be 15, one 15-year-old boy, and I was talking to his mates. Now, there's a very, now these kids, this is the first time I've had like a one-to-one with this kid. And like some of the stuff he was telling me, there's literally these kids now are understanding. I've talked about this for over a year, guys. Okay. These kids understand now that there is going to be a war on the streets and they're going to be on the front line. Sharon Owen is saying, good morning. I'm just jumping down these comments, guys. Silence is saying the bloke in the green got his teeth knocked out by the police. I didn't see that, guys. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't see everything, obviously. Last night I was on a live stream. I had 3 channels open. I had YouTube, TikTok, and X open. I didn't see everything. Linda Lou says there were 2. The first one might have thrown himself into the van, but the second one was knocked into. Oh, okay. Well, listen, guys, I've only seen one person hit by a vehicle. I didn't realize there was 2. Obviously, there is a absolute mainstream media blackout on this, guys. And listen, what I will say is, it just seemed that, everybody who turns up to these protests are labeled as far right. I wasn't seeing that, guys. Initially I was, and do you know what, guys? I'm going to say this actually. All through the night, until about 10 o'clock when the lights started to go down, it became very difficult to understand what was happening. All through the night, I would say I didn't see anyone that I would have perceived. But then how do you perceive far right? I don't know. Linda Lou is saying they took him to Tesco opposite and the staff cleaned him up. BLD, Clara everywhere. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I did not know that. I only thought there was one person hit. But listen, guys, we've got to understand, guys, okay? The police are in a very difficult position. Guys, okay? Sharon Owen is saying, Sean, why do they always put the little coppers at the front and the biggest at the back? I don't know, but I remember when I was at the, let me just pin this comment real quick, guys. I don't know, but I remember when I was watching the riots that turned in at the hotel in Rotherham last year. There was a little woman police officer, and she was standing on her own. And I looked at her and I thought, what's she doing there on her own? And she, you know, she was there on her own with a riot shield, and she was going like, yeah. And this little kid, he must have been 15 or 16. Like, he ran up to her and like he kicked the shield, and she went absolutely flying. Like, first of all, her training must have been really poor, because you just don't stand on your own, guys. You don't do that. That's not a thing you do when you've got a riot shield. It doesn't matter whether you're like, I don't know, whether you're like Tyson Fury's size or whether you're, I don't know, Tom Cruise's size, all right? You don't stand alone with a riot shield. It doesn't work, guys, all right? That's not how you do that. That's not how you get taught. Second of all, so that's her personal training, okay, guys? That goes down to individual skills and drills. Second of all, where was the leadership and the command and control to say, I don't know, Sue, get back in line, you lunatic. What are you doing? So, like, where was the command and control that's going to pull Sue back? Or did Sue think she was going totally Rambo on her own and she was going to be able to clear the street? I don't know, guys. I've seen 12 paratroopers clear a whole street in Ardrossan. It was brutal, guys. It was brutal. I was indeed one of those. But yeah, I don't know, Sharon. Sharon Owen is saying, why do they always put the coppers on the small coppers on the front line? And they, I don't know. I don't think they do. Maybe they're just all small police officers, guys. I don't know. Maybe they're just all small police officers. I don't know. Linda Lewis saying, when I was a youngster, the height of a policewoman had to be over 5'8". I know that when my friend, I had a friend called Matt. He had the same birthday as me, actually. I know I've got a friend called Matt who was in the army, who I was in the army with. He left the army and he wanted to join the police force. Now, he failed that. Now, I said to him, I said, well, how did you fail, mate? He said, I've no idea. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, we had to do the beep test. And there was and he said there was this little pygmy short woman. And I think she got to like level 5 or something. I think she got to like level 5 on the beep test. And she actually got accepted into the police, and Matt didn't. Now, Matt is like absolutely huge. Like, he's like an absolute unit. I know that when parachute regiment, I think you have to get up to level 14.2. I want to say 14.2 on the beep test. So you can see there, guys, the massive disparity in fitness. And the lady who was short got level 4 or 5 on the beep test. He got, I mean, I don't know what he got, but I know that a standard is 14.2. So there you understand it, guys. That I do think the standards, the standards certainly in the police force have fallen. Now, that could be down to recruiting. That could be down to that could be down to a whole host of things. Right, guys, I'm gonna jump over to YouTube for a second, guys. I'm gonna jump over to YouTube for a second. Wow, there's so many comments on YouTube, guys. You guys are throwing it out there. Right, guys, I'm not going to be able to get through all the comments on YouTube, guys. It's not going to happen. There's far too many. Tugs Life is saying, won't be long before they make it a jailable offence protesting near hotels. Bet it's the post Charlie has a lot to answer for. I don't know what that means. Won't be, guys, I'm just reading a comment here. Won't be long till they make it a jailable offence protesting near a hotel. Bet it's in the post Charlie has a lot to answer for. Are we meaning King Charles there? Are we mean King Charles? I don't know. But yeah, that may be on the cards, guys. But I don't think that's going to help, because I think as we move forwards, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, aunts and uncles, dogs and cats, goldfish and hamsters, I think as we move forwards, and this is what I'm seeing, guys, and I've been calling this for a while now. What I see is groups of 50 people operating independently, going and doing stuff. Now, and this is a real recipe this is a real recipe for carnage, guys. It really is. You can imagine, like, just take, like, for example, take Epping, for example. Take Epping. Just say, for example, that rather than a planned protest, if the local men or boys or whatever had got together and said, right, you know what, we're not even going to declare this a protest. We're just going to turn up next Wednesday. We're going to throw bottles. We're going to throw bricks. We are going to go absolutely furious for 30 minutes. Then we're going to run off. How does the police react to that? How do the police react to that? Ladies and gentlemen, believe me, a lot can happen in 30 minutes. So there lies the direction of travel, guys, that I think is going forward. Now, I only just had this epiphany, not really an epiphany, an idea this morning that you may actually have, and this would be far right now, guys, doing this. So you may actually have a group of 50 people who operate in secrecy, who turn up to these events on their own, in whatever vehicles they've got. They turn up, they do the blitzkrieg, and then they run off. That would be, that's what I think is coming, guys. I really do think that is coming. And then the next escalation to that will be people in these hotels will come out and they will start fighting. And look, guys, I don't care who you are. If you're a 16-year-old boy, you're not going to mix it with one of these, with somebody that's just come over from, like a 30-year-old guy who's just come over from Africa. That melee is ending one way, and it's not positive for you. This is the danger that we're heading into at the moment, guys. And listen, the numbers of there's not enough police numbers, guys. There really is not enough police numbers. And if you guys were watching last night from Epping, or if you was watching the scenario developing Epping, and again, I don't, it's strange that when I say things like it literally happened straight after. Last night I was on the live stream, and what I said, guys, look, I do think this is going to fizzle out. The dynamics, the intensity, it was high, it was low, it was high, it was low, it went high again. What I said, look, guys, this is a relatively isolated incident, okay? This is a relatively isolated incident. These police officers, they know there's a protest. They will have a QRF, quick reaction force. That quick reaction force will be somewhere. They will be forward mounted to a local, they may call it forward mounted. They will have been pre-deployed, forward mounted to a location near there. And they'll just be on the radio, guys. They'll literally be on the radio. And when things start to go from one level to another, they just call in backup. Now, the problems are going to arise moving forwards because the police are so used to policing in a certain way. They don't have the fluidity to change their tactics, guys. They don't. Now, again, just the scenario. Let's give the Epping Hotel scenario, all right? Right. Briefing Monday morning. Right, guys, on Thursday, there's going to be a protest outside the Epping Hotel. Right. Okay, what's the protest for? Who's turning up? What we're going to do with them? What's the vehicle management plan? How many people do we need? What's the access roads in and out? What's the threat? What's the what's the nearest base, nearest police station that we can use? All these things will be taken into consideration. Again, listen, guys, I don't know if this even happened or not, but if it was me, I would have moved those migrants out of that hotel well before that protest even started, so maybe even the day before. So what you can do is you can build up that intelligence picture. You can have your guys already in location. You can have your fire engines. You can have your ambulances. You can have your tactical support units. You can have you can have your QRF. You can have your and maybe another, I don't know, maybe another 5-10 tactical support units just out of the picture. So they're not actually there at the moment to antagonize people. And then they're literally on a radio's call away, guys. So last night I said, look, guys, okay, I'm looking at the crowd. This is what I said. I said, I'm looking at a crowd. I'm not seeing that ferocity that I would expect to be able to overthrow those police officers. The capacity went up, it went down, and then literally all on cue, guys, all on cue, it came up, and reinforcements were called in. And at that point, guys, it was pretty much game over for the protesters. Now, riddle me this, riddle me that, Batman. If another protest broke out at a hotel 2 towns away, Where are those reinforcements coming from, guys? Where are all those riot shields coming from? Where are all those assets coming from? Because they're already deployed. They're already deployed, so you can't lift them off that scene. And you know what, guys? I don't know how organized these protests are going to be. I don't know how organized these protests are going to be, but we may actually see a scenario where there's a planned protest. Like, say, for example, there's a planned protest outside the Epping Hotel in, outside the Bell Hotel in Epping. Just go with me, guys, a minute. Go with me. And look, guys, I'm not involved in any of these protests, guys. I literally sit here and I tell you guys what's happening. But just say, for example, that there was a planned protest at location X, all right? The protest starts, the protest gets capacity, reinforcements are brought in, and then once the reinforcements are in, people block the roads all around that, blocking those reinforcements in, and then the real protest happens at another hotel. You see where I'm going with that, guys? You see where I'm going with that? People are going to start to use guerrilla tactics. It's the only... Guys, it's the natural progression, ladies and gentlemen. It is the natural progression. People will start to use guerrilla tactics. So then you're going to have a situation where all the police officers are protecting this hotel. The reinforcements have been called in. The roads have been blocked, blocking the reinforcements in. But then the real protest, the secret one, the more intense one, is going to be at another hotel. And those officers are going to be stuck there. It's going to take a long time for those officers to punch through, to punch out, to then get to the secondary location. You see where I'm going with this, guys? This is guerrilla tactics. And I've no doubt somewhere someone's planning this. You know, and this is what we're heading into, guys, this year. And then don't forget, guys, we've not seen it. Nobody's talking about the elephant in the room yet, which are the Islamist protests, because you know those things get a lot. Those things get, you know, there's a different dynamic to those, guys. There's a different dynamic to those protests when they happen. Right, guys, anyway, let me jump. Guys, listen, there are so many comments on YouTube, guys. I don't think I'm going to be able to, in fact, I'm not going to be able to get to them all. Right, let me jump up and get the comments on YouTube, TikTok. I'm jumping on TikTok, guys. Listen, I will get all the comments, guys. I will get all the comments on TikTok, ladies and gentlemen, tonight, this morning. I will get all the comments on TikTok. D. Marie Gen X is saying good morning. Good morning to you, D. Marie Gen X. Debbie Doobs is saying morning. Linda Lou, yeah, we've done that. We said Linda Lou. Gemini Blessing is saying good morning, everyone. Guys, I wish I had a bottle of water. Linda Lou is saying an illegal slept in park because his wife flown in and not allowed to stay at a hotel. I don't, Linda Lou, can you give more context to that? Four Paws is saying tap the screen, guys. 50k is the target, guys. Should we all have a screen tapping morning? Let's all have a screen tapping morning on TikTok, guys. Debbie Doobs is saying, where's tonight's protest? I don't know. Is there a protest planned tonight? I don't know. Gemini Blessing is saying there were police from 3 counties at the Bell Hotel and the protesters are going there on Sunday. Right. I didn't realize that, guys. So listen, this just emphasizes what I was just saying. So there we have it, guys. Okay, as Gemini Blessing on TikTok is saying, hang on, guys, who's this? It's my sister. So Gemini Blessings there is saying on TikTok that there were police from 3 different counties at the Bell Hotel. Right, guys. So listen, exactly what I've just said. You know, 3 police from 3 different counties. So you can imagine now. All right. I don't know what the counties around there would be, but you can, first of all, there's only so many baton shields. There's only so many of those riot shields, guys. Okay. There's only so many baton sticks. There's only so many public order trained staff, police officers. There's Gemini Blessing saying there, guys, on TikTok, there were police from 3 different counties involved. So here we have it, guys. Okay. So let's just say, for example, and I'm not saying this should happen. I'm saying that there's smarter people, well, probably not smarter than me, but equally as smart as me. And it doesn't take the brains of an archbishop to understand this, that guerrilla tactics are coming. For example, the hotel, let's just use a real world example, guys. Okay. Let's just use a real world example. This Sunday, Protests planned. Remember, guys, this Sunday, kids off school. Summer holidays have started, so you're going to get that increase in capacity because people don't have to be at work on Monday. People don't have to be at school on Monday. So you see how we're going, guys. You see how we're going. You see the direction of travel now. You see all the parts coming together. So this Sunday, Bell Hotel in Epping. Imagine, guys. All right, if this protest starts. If it happens, they call the reinforcements in. Yeah, they've called the reinforcements in. Remember, as Gemini Blessings is saying here, this used police from 3 different counties. So now you've got the surrounding counties investing police and resources into the Epping Hotel. Once all those reinforcements are in and around that area of the Bell Hotel in Epping, bad guys, far right, whoever you want to label them, they close the roads off just outside. They pull cars in, they burn them out, they do whatever, trapping all the police tactical support units inside there. Then the real protest is at another hotel. You see where I'm going with that, guys? You see where I'm going? There's just not enough police to do this, guys, all right? There is not enough police to secure every location. That leaves it really dangerous for everyone, guys, because those people inside that hotel, how do you think they're going to react? How do you think those people are going to react, guys? And this is what we're heading towards now, guys, literal pitched battles. I'm just jumping down, guys. Jody is saying, we do it here in Belfast when the rioting starts. They stretch out the police. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, guys, look, what I'm talking about now, guys, all right, these guerrilla tactics, they're nothing that's not been done. Lots of times, guys, okay? But this is what I fear is going to happen. Remember, we're going to have people. No doubt we've got people from Northern Ireland coming over talking about tactics and all sorts of stuff. But, guys, listen, people are getting organized, guys. That's the reality of this situation now. People are getting organized. And I do think we're going to start to see guerrilla tactics on the streets. Scottish Sonia says, my son is on his way to Manchester for a concert tomorrow. That's not me. That's me not sleeping all weekend. Guys, I'm going to get some YouTube comments in a minute once I've got down all the TikTok comments, guys, okay? I will get to every one of the TikTok comments this morning, guys. Sharon Owen is saying the police sent me an email about the car, asked me to ask the neighbors. So for context, guys, I don't know if you guys were on the live stream yesterday. Sharon Owen had her car stolen on Tuesday. She said that she phoned the police 15 minutes after it happened. They didn't do anything, and now the police have sent her an email to say to go and ask the neighbours if they've got any information. Now this is and right now, guys, and the reason I'm bringing this forward to everyone is this is now, ladies and gentlemen, when there's no mass protest, there's no mass incidents. The police are not struggling off their feet. So this is now. You can imagine when the summer of carnage happens, how long it's going to take to get you the police. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, I'm going to start repeating this on every live stream, okay? You there that's listening, you need to take your own security as your own responsibility. There's going to be a time coming this year where you phone the police and they say, yeah, we've got no one to send. I'm sorry about that. We might have someone in a couple of hours. Listen, guys, I just said that a lot of things can happen in half an hour, so a lot of things can happen in a couple of hours, trust me. Okay, so the main thing that you can do, codependence is independence. You can't think about locking your door and hiding behind your door anymore, guys, okay? You've got to think about securing your community, all right? And securing your community does not mean paying 50 quid to some website and hoping you're going to get some people come round to help you. Nobody is coming, guys, okay? Take that on board. It's tough love. It's tough justice, guys, okay? Take that on board. It's tough love. Accept it. Accept nobody's coming to help you, okay? And take your own security into your own hands. And the first thing, if I was to say to somebody, if somebody was saying to me, and I have 30 seconds to say to somebody how to secure your location, I would say you control the access and egress roads. That's it, guys, okay? It's as simple as that. Now, wherever you live, if you live in an estate, if you live in a rural area, there will be natural choke points. I know where Sarah's mum lives. There's one road in and one road out. I know where, and a lot of the new housing estates as well. A lot of those new housing estates have one road in and one road out. Guys, listen, if you control that road in, and when somebody comes and you say, do you live here? And they say no, and you say, what are you doing here then? They'll probably drive off. If people meet resistance, they will go. And that's the reality, guys, okay? People need to start thinking about securing their own locations. If you do have specific questions, I will answer them about security, guys, okay? I've been a security consultant for many years. Many years, guys, and I'll answer any questions you've got. Debbie Doobs is saying, multiple protests are needed at the same time. And Debbie Doobs, that's what I think is coming. The police will be overrun. These are tactics that were used in Northern Ireland, Linda Lewis saying, yes, the fella was in our local park sleeping, wife in bushes hiding. The fella, she said she flew. I mean, is this happening, guys? Is this happening? Have we got people sleeping in bushes now, guys? Have we got people sleep? Is that where we are, guys? Now we've got migrants sleeping in bushes. Is that the state of the United Kingdom? Listen, as strange as this sounds, I did a video on this, and I do think this is coming, ladies and gentlemen. I think we are coming to a point in the United Kingdom very quickly where there's something called adverse possession in the United Kingdom. I do think very soon we're going to see adverse possession on massive swathes of land in the United Kingdom, where migrants will come in and they'll say, oh, we've been living in this woodland for 10 years now. We've been living in this woodland, so it's ours now. And the government will say, oh, yeah, that's yours. Oh, no, yeah, that's yours. I do think that's coming, guys. It's called adverse possession if you want to go and look at that. But yeah, apparently we've got people living in the bushes. I mean, listen, who's laughing, really? Who's laughing, us or them? Sharon Owen is saying, not only did they not look for the car, I've got to gather the evidence. Yeah, look, guys, and this just reiterates what I was talking about before. As we're heading into the summer of carnage, and it's here now, guys, okay? As we're heading into the summer of carnage, more of these protests break out. I mean, look, guys, let's just see that. Look, you only have to look at the comments. You only have to. I'm not even going to do it. You only have to look at the comments on these videos that are outside Epping. You're going to get, there's going to be more events of this, guys, okay? People are going to start to protest outside hotels that are near them. And guys, listen, like I've said all along, okay, the summer of carnage will start when the kids are off school. But Sharon Owen is saying, not only did the police not help look for her car, but Sharon's got to gather the evidence herself. This country has gone to the dogs. Yeah, unfortunately, guys, listen, I've been talking to some people yesterday. I was talking to some people yesterday. And they're just not bothered. And I was saying, look, you're going to have to stand up for yourself, and you're going to have to stand up for your country and your community. These people were saying to me, oh, I'm not bothered. I don't want to get involved. I've just locked my door and hide behind it. I'm like, oh, God. Right. I mean, how do you get through to those people? Very difficult, guys. Very difficult to get through to these people. Hang on, where are we? Hang on, guys. I'm swizzling the comments here, guys. Right, okay. Linda Lou is saying Wednesday she wasn't allowed to stay at the hotel. The fella was happy to chat. Okay. And look, guys, listen, I want to be quite clear. Right, if you live, and listen, guys, I don't want any more migration to the United Kingdom. I want it to stop. I want to get rid of all the hotels. I want to get them out of the country, all right? If you are, and I've been to some of these places in Africa, I've been to a lot of these places in the Middle East as well. One particular village I'm thinking of in, where was it? Syria. If you think about these villages in Syria, they've got no running water, they've got no electricity, they've got no prospects for life. If somebody is saying to them, if you come to Cali and get over the border, we'll put you in a hotel and give you 3 meals a day. You've got running water, you've got electricity. Like, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer, isn't it, guys? Okay, and I've said all along, okay, a lot of these migrants are pawns in a game that they just don't understand. Cassie is saying there is more to it than meets the eye, how protected they are and how allowed. Hang on, let me pin this comment, guys. Comment on TikTok. There is more to it than meets the eye, how protected they are and allowed to get away with things. Yes, so this is where we're talking about, guys. This is exactly what I was talking about, guys, okay? These people are pawns in a game that they don't understand. Luxford's commenting to Sharon. Listen, guys, so if you guys don't know, Sharon Owen had her car stolen, and she's commenting on TikTok at the moment, guys, okay? She had her car stolen on Tuesday. She phoned the police 15 minutes after that vehicle was stolen. The police told her to, I think they give her a crime reference number, and now they've emailed her back saying that she has to go around and gather as much evidence as she could. What are we paying our police taxes for, guys? I mean, what are you paying that? Sharon, where do you think your money goes in taxes that goes to the police? Google it is saying, did you see the video of the police all pulling buttons because something had a cone? No, I didn't. Listen, guys, I'll be honest. I've not watched every video of this of these protests last night. I was on the live stream while it was happening. I had 3 screens open. I had 4 screens open, and like multiple tabs. I was trying to get as much information as possible. And when you do that, guys, ultimately you will not see all, you will not see everything. So no, I didn't see that. No, I didn't see that, but I don't see how. Yeah, I mean that is a thing, guys. Okay, I'm going to assume they all did it at the same time, and there was a commander behind him, and he shouted like "Squad, button, shields," or like "Release buttons" or something, "Draw buttons," and then everybody at the same time went like this. I'm going to assume that happened. I don't know. I'm going to assume that happened. Right, quite a few people saw it. Google is saying the video of someone being hit is on YouTube now. Urban Pictures 1224. Debbie Doobs is saying razor blades in the fence of the Bell Hotel. Debbie Doobs, can you give me context in that? Are we talking like razor wire? Are we talking razor wire now, or are we talking actual razor blades that people have just put in there, guys? I know that when I used to work in the Middle East, what the haulage drivers used to do, the door handles of their the door handles of the HGVs, they used to solder razor blades. They used to solder razor blades under there so you couldn't get into it. But yeah, listen, guys, razor blades are dirty things, unless you're shaving with them. But Debbie Doobs, can you give us more context on that, what you said? Scottish Sonia is saying Northumberland Water started filling up tankers of drinking water from the hydrogens. Get water, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. One of the overarching themes of this channel, okay, has always been to get yourselves water, all right? Get yourselves water, guys, okay? Let me just do a quick search, guys, because I know lots of places in the United Kingdom have called for hosepipe bans. Let me just Google this real quick, guys. Right. I'm getting an article here, guys, from The Independent. There's a map. Hosepipe ban map. Which areas are affected and what restrictions are in place? So hosepipe bans have been introduced across England as Britain's battle with consecutive heat waves. Ladies and gentlemen, the summer of carnage is up on us. It has left nearly 7 million Britons, which is more than 10% of the country, facing restrictions. Southern Water has become the latest utility companies. Hosepipe ban, Hampshire, Isle of Wight, Thames Water, Swindon, Gloucestershire, Oxford, Berkshire, Wiltshire, Yorkshire, sorry. Thames Water, did we say that? Right, okay, so we've got Pretty much in England, we've got Cumbria, we've got Yorkshire, we have got East Ridings, guys, listen, you have pretty much got from Cheshire northwards with drought conditions declared. So drought conditions are declared, guys, in too many places to mention, guys. Literally, I would say north of Cheshire is in drought right now, guys. North of Cheshire is in drought. Now, on the southern aspect, we've got Gloucestershire, Oxfordshire, Wiltshire, West Berkshire, Hampshire, Isle of Wight, West Sussex, East Sussex, and Kent, all declaring hosepipe bans, ladies and gentlemen. That is well over 10% of the United Kingdom. I'm looking at this as a map, guys, and that's well over 10%. I would say, looking at that, guys, I'd say you've got a third of the country. The third of the country is in suffering with water, ladies and gentlemen. England is in its third heat wave of the summer after the driest spring. Check this out, guys. The driest spring since 1893, leaving swathes of the country in drought. So there we have it, guys, okay? And you guys still don't have 3 litres of water per person per day. I'm going to jump over to YouTube, guys, and get some of the comments on YouTube. I'm just conscious that these comments are building up on YouTube. But yeah, guys, listen, get yourselves water, all right? I keep talking about this right now in the supermarket, guys, and I don't know how it's kept. So I don't know why it's... I don't know why the water price has not spiked yet, but I checked yesterday, guys, in Aldi, and in Aldi they're still doing those 5 litre, like I don't want to call them drums. What they call, like big bottles, but they're not bottles. They're like a drum. It's like 5 litres, 5 litre receptacle. Let's call it that. They're still doing the 5 litre receptacles, and I think they're like £1.20 or something, £1.25. Obviously, guys, if you can find them cheaper, get them cheaper. But I would seriously consider going and getting yourself some of them, guys, because I do think we're going to have water stoppages, guys. I do think this because remember, you know, as more people need water, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? More people need water. Water's in great supply. The price will inevitably go up. Let me just jump up and get some of these comments, guys. Listen, guys, there are so many comments on YouTube at the moment. I just can't get through them all. I will get through every comment on TikTok, guys. This afternoon, later on today, when I'm on the live stream, I'll try and get all the YouTube comments, guys. So I do apologize. Right, Matt Smith is saying, how can the municipalities afford the overtime for the police without doing any damage? You can drain the money from the budget. Yeah, you know, that is, I guess that, you know, I didn't actually think of that. Police obviously get paid, they get paid overtime. I don't know if you knew this, guys, but back in the aftermath of the 7/7 attack in the United Kingdom, the police were massively stretched, and they just didn't have the capacity. So what the police would do is they called in the military. One of the things they used to do is they used to call in the military and put the military on surveillance tasks. Because listen, guys, this is going to sound wild to you guys. This is going to sound wild, all right? But in the police force, if you're on a surveillance task, so just say that you're like special branch or whatever. You know, you're there, you're doing covert surveillance, you've got your little earpiece in and yada, yada, yada. Gets to 5:30, that's you gone. Unless somebody signed the waiver for overtime, that's you lifting off, you're going home. The military, like when you call the military in, the military will stick on that target, day, rain, sleep, snow, shine, whatever. The military will stay on that target until they're relieved or they're told to get off. They don't ask for overtime because the military get paid for 24. The military get paid constantly. The police don't. And look, guys, okay, I've done a lot of work with the police, okay? I know a lot of police officers are good guys, okay? A lot of police officers are good guys, okay? But yeah, I didn't even consider the overtime that these guys are going to have to get paid. No doubt, listen, no doubt Rachel Reeves is going to come back and she's going to go, and we have to put taxes up again because of the summer riots. Guys, at what point are people just going to down tools and stop working? Right, Air Hammond, where's Air Hammond? Water could be a worry. Put some pans on the roof, methinks. Yeah, guys, listen, I will always say this about water. Work on, excuse me, this is part of your own security as well. So you there, and think about your vulnerable people in your family, guys, okay? Think about your nan. And again, I've seen this myself. I know I talked about this yesterday, or maybe the day before or something. I was in the local store and I heard an old lady talking. You know, a lot of old people, guys. Can we just do this now as a show of, not a show of hands? Can we just do this now, guys? Can everybody think of a vulnerable person that they know and just buy extra water for them, guys? Just buy extra water for them. So maybe that might be like Aunt Sue. Aunt Sue's got no idea what's happening. She lives in a bungalow, and you go visit her once or twice a week. Like, think about Aunt Sue, okay? Think about Aunt Sue. It's going to cost you a couple of quid, guys, okay? Just get some water for Aunt Sue, because then in the case of an emergency, you can go and take Aunt Sue some water and say, don't worry, Aunt Sue, I've got you some water here. Work off 3 litres of water per person per day. Oh, but Sean, I don't drink 3 litres of water per person per day. Trust me, guys, all right? You will go through a minimum of 3 litres of water per person per day. Just work off that, and that is a minimum, guys, okay? Also, as a secondary, guys, okay, somebody was on the live chat yesterday and they were saying, Sean, should I get an IBC container? I was like, yes, absolutely get an IBC container if you've got that capacity, if you've got the space, if you've got the money. What I said as a secondary to that, I said, okay, if you're going to get an IBC container, try and use it as well. So what I would do, maybe get an IBC container, lift it up onto a few pallets, and then you know those cisterns you get from the toilet? Oh, Sean, it's toilet stuff. Trust me, guys, toilet water is the exact same water that you drink, okay? So the cistern in your toilet, you know that little bally thing, the ball that goes up and down? Think about connecting one of those to the IBC container and using the water from the IBC container. That way, you'll have that constant refreshment of that water. You'll have it constantly moving through and it won't go stale. It's just a good little thing to do, guys, okay? It's always best to have more, but also, guys, it would be even better if you had the means to find, filter, and process your own water. Now, there's lots of different ways to that. I know a lot of you people live in farms. I've actually got a friend, Andy. He lives about... Yes, I've got a friend, ladies and gentlemen. I've got a friend. He lives, I don't know, 20 minutes away. He was saying to me the other day, he's saying, Sean, we've actually got a well in the old farm. I was like, all right, but it's been dug down. So I was talking to him. I think we're going to go around and we're going to dig that well out and see if we can actually, see if we can actually get water out of that well. I don't know if we can get water out of it, guys. He said it's been filled in, but it's just one of those things you have to do, guys, okay? So, always try, guys, listen, and water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. Where are we? The United Kingdom. Guys, listen, in the United Kingdom, we have been spoiled with heavy rainfall. We have been spoiled living on an island, but unfortunately, guys, as more people come to our country, millions every year, and those people potentially may or may not be paying their water rates, that may be paid for by the government, I don't know. That means that there's more people now pulling off that water supply. That's the reality, guys, okay? Everybody that comes to this country, whether you like it or not, they're going to be turning the taps on. They're going to be, they're going to be drinking. Oh, hang on. And I've just looked at an article here, guys. An article here has just come up as I've been talking. Maybe the computer is listening to me. Serious water pollution incidents up 60% in England, Environment Agency says. So all these factors, guys, are pointing into a water shortages. And look, guys, if you think that you can, you're just going to drink cups of tea or milk or pop, just take my advice, guys. Take my advice. Get yourselves water. Anyway, let me jump up and get some more of these comments on YouTube. Michelle Ackers is saying there is a big protest on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday, actually. Yeah, so tomorrow at Dover Beach, guys. There's another big protest tomorrow at Dover Beach. And you can see now, can't you, guys, the tension building. You can see the direction, guys. You can see people building up more and more. And the more of these protests and the more people are commenting, the more people are going to want to go out in their local areas. And this is where I think the direction's heading, guys. I think this is the direction of Imagine being a police officer now, right? Imagine being a police officer, right? You've got a holiday plan to, I don't know, Benidorm or whatever. And you're like, Yeah, Sean, yeah, we're going to need every officer. And you'd be like, oh, what do you mean leave's cancelled? Yeah, leave's cancelled, mate. Yeah, you've got to bid your holiday. You're like, oh, God. Where was I going with that? But yeah, more protest planned, guys. I do think in the United Kingdom, we are heading to a situation whereby the people are going to take these at local level. You're going to see smaller protests, smaller, intense protests. Maybe it's not going to be 50 people. Maybe it's going to be 10, 15, 20 people turning up at hotels, getting really, really intense for 30 minutes, then leaving. And if that happens, guys, and if we start to see that happen, the police have got zero way of enforcing that. Absolutely zero. But I mean, realistically, guys, we just heard there, didn't we, from Sharon Owen? Sharon Owen just said the police, you know, she phoned the police, excuse me, she phoned the police about her car being stolen and they didn't even come out. So you can imagine somebody phoning up the police service saying, oh, we've got 30 people outside the hotel and they're throwing things. Oh, right, okay, yeah. Guys, yeah, they're going to have to get off the phone somebody else up, maybe even a radio. Yeah, guys, we need public order kit. Oh, all the public order kit was sent down to Epping. Oh, right. Where do we get the public order kit from then? We haven't got any. Right, okay. So you see what I'm getting at here, guys? The time, the capacity, the sheer numbers that we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. And this is why I said from day one, I think people were, I think people got a little bit misconstrued. I wasn't being negative. I'm not being negative about anybody who genuinely wants to help and make our streets safer. All I was saying about this gang, this biker gang or whatever they're called, the Shield, what the organization, shield.org, whatever you want to call it, what I said is, I'm always conscious when money gets involved, because when money gets involved, that attracts the wrong people. So you may have a group of people at the grassroots who are honest, who are honest, who want to make things happen. But as that organization grows, you get an investor who comes in and he says, I'll give you some money. How much? Couple of million, and you're like, oh wow, think of all the good stuff I can do with a couple of £1 million. Yeah, I can do loads of good stuff. They give you the £1 million, and then they say, right, well, do you know what, I actually want you to go in this direction now. And then you're like, oh, what do you mean? And you're like, no, I want you to go in that direction. You're like, yeah, but that's against my core values. I want to go in this direction. And then the guy's saying, well, you know what, you've got a lot of staff employed now, they're all employed and I'm paying that, so I could pull the funding if I wanted to, unless you go in that direction. And it puts you, I've been there, guys, and it puts you in a difficult position then, because now you've got people's jobs and literally you're employing people. And you're thinking, right, if I stick to my morals, the organization's gone. If I don't stick to my morals, the organization is not the organization I started. So where do you go with that, guys? And that's what I was getting at, okay? Introducing, but again, I do understand, that people need money. People need money. It's what makes the world go round. Where was I going on that? Well, right, I'm just going to jump up and get these some TikTok comments, guys. I will get every TikTok comment today, ladies and gentlemen. Right, yeah, so that I'm just going to reiterate this, what Scottish Sonia's saying there, guys, okay? So listen, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on X, a comment's come up from Scottish Sonia. I have read it out before, but I'm going to read it out again. Northumberland Water have started filling up tankers of drinking water. What do you think, guys? What do you think? I don't know. What do you think? Do you think I was wrong when I was telling you guys to fill up, get yourselves water? I've talked about that already, guys. Okay, you really need to start getting water. Sharon Owen is saying buying donuts and coffee by the looks of it. I don't know what that was from. Oh, I think Sharon Owen's talking about a police officer, where the money is going for her taxes because the police don't come out. Linda Lou is saying, I reckon it's our government, they're paying them to come over for whatever they need them to do. Look, Linda Lou, okay, 2 weeks ago, I would have said, listen, guys, I'll be quite honest with you. 2 weeks ago, I would have said, listen, I don't see that happening. But this Afghanistan scandal, guys, and it is a scandal. I can't even think of the words. This Afghanistan scandal, and it is a scandal, it's ridiculous. I can remember you guys sending me private inbox messages saying, Sean, are the government secretly bringing soldiers in? And I was like, no, guys, that is like really, I didn't actually say no. I said, guys, look, I think that is highly, highly, highly unlikely. I basically said no. I was wrong, guys. I was wrong. So Linda Lou is saying she thinks it's the government that's paying for it. Guys, look, I'm not taking anything off the cards right now. And let me caveat this, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, I'm pro-police, I'm pro-government, I'm pro-military. I think we need strong military. We need strong police. We need strong government. Unfortunately, right now in the United Kingdom, there are various cracks in various locations. Debbie Doobs is saying, I sent you a video. It's about halfway in. Right, I'll have to look at that video later, guys. Debbie, sorry. Fort Pause is saying, keep tapping, guys. We're almost there. Cassie is saying, do you think the police sit at the station to watch TikTok lives for evidence due to riots? Cassie, I would say with 100% certainty, the police will have a social media unit that sit in an office with lots of different screens, and they will be trawling through this information. Absolutely, absolutely, the police will be doing that, guys. Absolutely. Hang on, where we're going? Hang on. Yeah, so we've done that one. Chris is saying, hey, Raven, hope you're well, buddy. And thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris, for looking quiet. I hope you're well. And guys, listen, I hope everybody's well if you're on the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't ask you to do this as much as I should. We've been on almost an hour. Can you like, comment, subscribe, bell notification? We are triple streaming, guys. It finally happened. We are streaming on TikTok. We are streaming on YouTube. And we are streaming on X. We're triple streaming, guys. Who thought I'd be able to triple stream? Please show your support, guys. Show your support on all the platforms. Singing Mama is saying, hey. Lisu is saying, good morning. Oh, Singing Mama is replying to Cassie. So this is just a response, guys. I think I'm going to read it out. I am going to read it out. Of course, Cassie. And the vandalism, they didn't think about it before, but they're committed. Yeah, so yeah, we're talking about here, guys, people search through, there will be whole units in the police forces. I would say each police force has got their own unit. They would just sit there like they would sit there watching CCTV cameras. They will now sit there looking at open source social media. Guys, listen, from my military knowledge, my knowledge of how the militaries work, how different militaries work, tactics, hardware, software, I understand that all this information's out there. So all the secret information that people think secret, somewhere you can find that in an open source outlet. All that information's out there, most of it. So I've no doubt that the police are searching social media for stuff. Singing Mama is saying they used their bare hands to vandalize. Police will fingerprint. They get arrested. I don't know what that means. I think Singing Mama's responding to someone else there. Debbie Doo is saying, yeah, me. I don't know what that is response to. Oh, water, I think. I think Debbie Doo may have a well in their house. D. Marie Gen X is saying osmosis water system for filtering in the house. And Sharon Owen is saying Ukraine new scheme win points to, hang on. Just going to pin this, right? And then I'm going to search for this, what Sharon Owen's saying, because I may get done for saying that. Let me just Google this real quick, guys. Oh, right, this is bonkers. Right, so what? Right, okay, so I'm just going to read this, right? And this is from the BBC, all right? This is from the BBC, right? This is from the BBC, right? Okay, so I'm just reading this, guys. This is the headline, okay? I'm still on TikTok, guys, so I'm going to have to use the code words. So, transcending Russian soldiers to a beam of light, win points. Is Ukraine's new drone scheme gamifying war? Wow. I mean, what? So like, you get points, and points mean prizes. Oh, guys, where do we go with this? Images come in every day, thousands of them, men and equipment being hunted down along Ukraine's long contested front lines. Everything filmed, everything logged, everything counted, and now put to use. The Ukrainian military tries to extract every advantage it can against a much more powerful opponent. Under the scheme first trialed last year and dubbed Army of Drones bonus, also known as E-Points, units can earn points for each Russian soldier that they transcend into a beam of light or piece of equipment destroyed. Wow. And it's like playing Call of Duty. Wow. I don't even know where I go with that, guys. I don't even know where I go with that. What I do know is the battlefield in Ukraine has advanced warfare 30, 40 years in the space of like 3 years. Guys, listen, you know, conflict drives creation. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close down the TikTok now. I'm going to be over on YouTube and X for a little bit, guys. I'm going to be over on X for a little bit. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, before I go, I want you all to take this as a last word. Before I go, not a last word, I'll be back later on today. Take your own security, guys, okay? Take your own security is your own responsibility, all right, guys? It's no good anymore that you want to close your doors and lock your fences. You need to think about protecting your community, because if you protect your community, you don't need to close your doors. You don't need to close your windows. You don't need to worry about your kids going out and playing on the streets, okay, guys? So protect your area. Work on Dunbar's number. Go on Google that. I think it's 160 or 165. And just think, where are the natural choke points? Do I need to close roads off? And ladies and gentlemen, listen. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get yourselves water. And if you're listening to this, ladies and gentlemen, in fact, and if you're listening to this, you are the resistance. And we are off, ladies and gentlemen. We are off. Wow, the absolute bonkersness of that Ukrainian article there, guys. I'll read it in full now, guys. Hang on, let me just click some buttons on the screen, and then I will come to your comments. But can you imagine the insanity there, guys? Where you know, that points now, you get points for transcending Russian soldiers to beams of light. I don't even know how I feel about that, guys. It's absolutely insane as far as I'm concerned. I don't even know if it's insane in a good way or a bad way, or I don't even know what. Right, but yeah, it does look like that is a scheme that's actually happening in Ukraine. It's been reported on the BBC. It's just insane. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let me jump up and get some comments. Slim is saying the bullies in blue will turn to self-serving thugs the very moment things start to go wrong. Yeah, so I think what Slim here is talking about, I have mentioned this a few times before. Let me have a little drink here, guys. Let me get myself a little drink of water. I have mentioned this a few times. So if you guys have watched the movie Mad Max, the first one, so in that movie, Mad Max, the first one, there's a weird scenario whereby there's still a police force, there's no real law, and the police force are kind of like doing stuff, but they've got their own agenda. You know, I do think that's I do think that is a good analogy of how things could get. But listen, guys, let's not think that we are not beyond this, because every civilization comes to an end. Every empire comes to an end. Look at the Soviet Union, guys, okay? The Soviet Union was big and strong, and then in like 3 months, it was gone. Michelle Ackers is saying, imagine if people turned up and turned the boats around themselves. You can see that happening. It'd be interesting to see how that would work, wouldn't it? If like people turned up en masse next week, tomorrow, it's tomorrow, guys. It's not even next week, it is tomorrow. If people turned up en masse tomorrow, I don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow, guys. But look, guys, I will be quite clear. I don't think these big protests are going to be nearly as effective as smaller protests that are, and I'm using the phrase flash mobs. I think those flash mobs are going to be really hard to police, guys. You know, just imagine it. Imagine, like, look at all the resources that's been sucked up into Epping. We know from one of the comments on TikTok that assets from 3 different police forces were used. All right, fair enough. So you can imagine now, I mean, you don't even need to block these people in. Imagine if there's a protest going off in Epping, resources from 3 different counties have been brought in to deal with that protest. What if another protest breaks out, like in another county? What are those officers going to do? Are they going to leave Epping? Well, you can't leave Epping. You're already there. You're already committed. You cannot do that. So who's going to go? Decepticons? Autobots? Like, literally, who are they going to call, guys? You know, there's going to be a situation where there's no one to call. And this is what I'm talking about, guys. The summer of carnage. And now, because Keir Starmer has come down so draconianly on people, people know now that if they get arrested at one of these protests, they're going away for a long time. They know that, and again, guys, listen, I am going to read this because it just sends me crackers every time I read it. I can't believe I'm even reading this. You know, man jailed for shouting at police dog. That is a headline, ladies and gentlemen. That's a real headline on the BBC, 20th of August, 2024. That's a real headline, guys, okay? So people know now that if you shout at police dogs, you're going to get sent to jail. But people are still angry, so they're going to cover their faces. They're going to run. And if they get cornered, they're going to fight their way out of it because they know what's coming. And this is the direction that people have been pushed in. I'm not going to be there, guys. Listen, I'm going to be reporting this and letting you know. But, you know, I may go and report on seeing some locations. But, you know, this is the direction of travel that we're heading at the moment, guys. It really is. And I don't see any way back. AG Aesthetics is saying, was on a work meeting, can't believe I missed this live. Well, don't worry, AG Aesthetics, because all my stuff is now uploaded. It's all uploaded to YouTube. Zoe Dean is saying lots of smaller protesters, so they can't police them effectively. Maybe that's the only way, to be fair. Well, look, guys, okay, I personally think I would love to see a scenario where the government actually listen to people, but too many people are getting rich off this, guys. Too many people are getting rich off this. I can remember when we saw when you saw Bill Gates, Larry Fink, Keir Starmer, and what's her name, Bobhead, Rachel Reeves, walking down the corridor. That image to me, I was like, yeah, we're cooked. We are cooked. You know, we are cooked. You know, there are now international investments coming in. Look, guys, you know what I think about international investments. You know, international investment is synonymous with international wealth extraction. Every time. There's no caveat to that. You invest 5 million. If you invest 5 million, you want to see a return on your investment after year 5. So year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're paying it back. Year 6, you're in your first year of profit. So if you look at that, you invest 5 million. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 million. So then you would expect on year 6, that money's already been paid back. So you've been paid back now. The taxpayers have paid you back. Year 6, you're extracting that in profit, and that profit is leaving the country. Doesn't come back. No, it doesn't. They employ people and pay tax and whatever, but that profit, this is what I'm talking about, guys, okay, the profit. Now, if you have national growth, those people, Mick and John, who've got a building company and they're growing their company, they're employing local people, they have an extension on their house, they employ local builders, buy local resources. That money stays in the country. That money stays in the community. It doesn't leave. So GDP goes up, wealth goes up, prosperity goes up. International investment, guys, if it was up to me, I would get rid of every penny of international investment. We've gone, finished, not coming back. Get rid of it. We don't need it. Oh, but sure, we'd lose so many jobs. I don't care. because we would be better off in the long run, guys, okay? We would be better off in the long run. Unfortunately, politics is about making short-term gains, not long-term growth. Yeah, anyway, let me jump down, guys. Quite a few comments jumping up. Let me close that one down. They're the They're the four horsemen. Who are we talking? Oh, Keir Starmer, Bill Gates, Larry Fink, and what's her name? Rachel Reeves. Mike J. Hello, Mike J. I don't believe you've commented before. If you've not commented before, welcome. You're most welcome here, Mike J. Thank you for commenting. Mike J is saying sellers out equals international investment. Yeah, it does, guys. There's no caveat with that, guys. Absolutely no caveat. And I defy anyone, right? You know, when Rachel Reeves stands up there and she's got like a little fake smile and she's going, this government has secured 100 billion of international investment. That international investment is secured by our taxes. All right, it's fake. It's fake. All right, it doesn't mean anything. All right, international investment. If I was in charge, guys, and I'm not, if I was in charge, I would sign. I would say, right, every penny of international investment, get it out of our country. It would be bad. It would be bad initially, guys. It would be bad. There'd be all sorts of stuff happening. But you know what? After a couple of years, you know, when people started to realize that getting employed locally, you get more money. Getting employed locally puts more money into that community. Getting employed locally helps build a community. It helps build innovation. It helps build, a sense of worth. Because all these international investment companies do is they move in, they pay minimum wage, they take the profits, and they're gone. And all that stuff's backed by government, backed by the government. And does it seem suspicious that it looks like if you're a private landlord now, guys, and I don't mean like if you've got 30 houses or something. In fact, here's one for you. Here's one that you're gonna laugh at. So the government, they put extra taxes on people buying a second home, didn't they? Remember when that happened? Well, it turns out those extra taxes only apply if you're buying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 houses. If you buy 7 houses at a time, you don't get those extra taxes. So who's got the money to buy extra? You see where we're going with this, guys. So there we have it, guys. Okay. So the government at the moment have made it very difficult for private landlords to operate. That means that these big investment companies are going to be moving in, buying these houses at a reduced rate. And then guess what? Once they've reached a saturation point, the laws will change, make it more lucrative for those companies, and that's going to be paid for by our tax money. Mike J again is saying we have been betrayed by our own military intelligence. They run the drugs and prostitutes. Mike J, where are you getting that from? I don't think they do. I was in the military for a long time, and I certainly never had any experience of that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Listen, guys, I'm not taking anything off the cards. I was wrong. I was wrong about the government secretly bringing in foreign soldiers. I was wrong about that, guys. I'll hold my hands up to it. So I'm not taking anything off the cards at the moment, guys. Air Hammond. Oh, hang on. Right. Air Hammond. I carry a pocket version with me. Love referring to Chew Me Survival of a Modern World. Right. Where are we going here? Let me just read these comments. I think you guys have been talking to each other. Read The Art of War. It's short, useful, and very interesting. There's so many pictures in it, Slim. There's so many pictures in it. Right, anyway, listen, guys, I'm going to close this live down now, okay? I do want that to be the crux of this video, okay? It begins today, summer holidays today, although I think I may have even been wrong on that one. For us, where we live, the kids are off school today. It's the last day at school. So the summer holidays do begin today where we live. Some of you guys in the comments say it's next week. I guess different places will have different times. But what we're seeing now, guys, is more protests happening. These protests are going to turn ugly. As more videos come out and people get more angry, there'll be more incidents. guys, as much as I'm terrified to say this, there will be more incidents in the United Kingdom. There will be more counter-protests. There will be more clashes. I think the direction of travel is not going to be these big protests in London, these million-man marches with the big tannoys and everybody walking, waving the flags like that. I don't think that's going to be where it's at, guys, okay? I think they're easy to police. They're easy to police. You know, you've got lots of people. You know where they're coming. You can bring in assets. I would say like I've just said, guys, quite a few times, you know, it's going to be these smaller protests, but lots of them. So just think like that, you know, I think they're saying there's going to be 1 million people in London, like, I don't know, next month or whatever it is. Like, just think if that, rather than 1 million people, if you broke them down into groups of 100 and said, right, you 100 go and protest outside these hotels. Like, 1 million, that's like a lot of people, guys. That is a lot of hotels you can, like, those people can go and protest, and the police won't be able to deal with it. And that's the scary thing, guys, okay? Because then people in that hotel, guys, okay, like I keep saying, you know, they will take their security in their own hands. And I remember my own experience looking at the migrants, or what I perceive the migrants in the Rotherham hotel. They were waving things out the windows, guys, all right? We got pictures, but you can never get pictures really well on phones because you zoom in and you can't really see anything. So, you know, you can only imagine what carnage would have happened if things would have escalated further. And listen, guys, that's where I think we're heading right now in this country. Balkanization, Balkanization, Eastern Europe in the 90s, Northern Ireland in the 60s, where you've got lots of different factions, groups, splinter cells, all with different identities, different dynamics and different ways forwards. Listen, guys, it's very difficult to say that we are not being destabilized at the moment, and I do think this summer we are heading into the crisis phase. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let me just jump down and see... Anyway, guys, listen, I will be back on later today, guys. I will be back on later today, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back on later today. And if you're watching this, then you are the resistance.